Here's a question. What do you feel when you look at a bird? For many people, certain birds evoke an uneasy or even fearful feeling, both in dreams and in real life. From our early history to the present day, humans all over the world have shown a strong tendency towards superstitious beliefs. Birds feature prominently in many myths, both as harbingers of doom, symbols of peace, and a variety of other omens. No, this isn't about the Mothman. This is the legend of the Rock, in ancient history and modern sightings. You see them in your dreams and shadows looming above you. These are the gigantic cryptid birds of prey. By the grave and stern decorum of the countenance at war, though thy crest be shorn and shaven, thou, I said, art sure no craven, ghastly grim and ancient raven, wandering from the nightly shore. Tell me, what thy lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore? Quoth the raven, nevermore. Legend has it that this monstrous creature would pick up and feed on humans. It would often rip its prey apart and take it back to its nest to feed its young. Although it is well known for its tendency to cause terror, many believe that it acted as a protector to a vast secret valley filled with treasure. The Rock is mentioned in the famous collection of Arabic tales, The 1001 Nights, and by the Venetian traveler Marco Polo, who referred to it in describing Madagascar and other islands off the coast of eastern Africa. Marco Polo wrote, "To feed, it will seize an elephant in its talons and carry him high into the air and drop him so that he is smashed to pieces." In the Arabian Nights, Sinbad finds a white dome-shaped building with no doors. The dome is a rock's egg, and the entire island, its nest. So where did it come from? The legend has been present in the mythology of a variety of different cultures, but has been rumored to have originated in Asia in around 39 AD, specifically in and around India. Historians believe its origin to be in this general area due to the discovery of ancient Indian Sanskrit epics that reference what was said to be a giant bird, large enough to pick up elephants. The Rock has often been compared to a bald eagle in terms of appearance and temperament, but it is significantly larger with a much greater wingspan. Here's some other creatures similar to the Rock, which include birds such as the pang, the simurgh, the garanda, the phoenix, and the thunderbird. If you want to hear more about these legendary birds, drop Big Bird in the comments. The main difference between these birds and the Rock, and what most people's stories relate to, is not the benevolence of these birds, but rather the impending doom or death they feel when they have witnessed the creature. In 1976, 3 teachers were driving separate cars along an isolated road outside San Antonio, Texas. There was nothing unusual about this particular day, except for giant shadows looming across the roadway. As they slowed down to see what was casting such long shadows on a bright day, their car was buzzed by what they called big birds. All 3 of them were severely shaken by what appeared to be birds with wingspans of somewhere between 15 to 20 feet. The San Antonio Evening News caught wind of the story and reached out.
Huge breast and bony structure as it glided past the hood of the car. It was bigger than a Piper Cub aircraft and resembled something I couldn't actually wrap my head around. A reptile of some sort. I'm being told I can't talk about this on school time.
The school officials declined to let the teachers speak further about the incident as they feared alarming the children.
Judy and I were driving home from a ZZ Top concert in Springfield, and then all of a sudden, across the road from the right-hand side, a man bird with a black beard with red and brown feathers, wings outstretched larger than my windshield, flew across, with talons reaching out for us as it flew over my car. I blacked out for a moment in sheer terror and drove down into the shallow ditch and back up on the highway. Slamming on the brakes, Judy and I looked at each other with horror as the bird-like creature vanished into the night. This thing was sitting on the traffic light. I didn't even see it until I came to a stop. My gaze lifted up to giant talons grasping onto the pole, large black wings shining in the sunlight. I was frozen still at the intersection as the light turned green. Then the head turned towards me and its black ball eyes stared into my soul. I screamed silently from overwhelming fear. The car honked behind me. I startled and looked in my mirror. When I looked back at the light, the death bird was gone.
Cryptozoologists believe the stories and reports from around the world is enough eyewitness proof to say that the rock or death birds do exist. It's worth noting that it's becoming much more difficult for cryptozoologists to make a case of existence with the advent of cameras everywhere. With that advent, there has been a large uptick in what is called birding or birdwatching as recreation and conservation. However, birds around the world are in a state of dramatic decline because of climate change and habitat loss from human activity. In 2022, researchers estimated that the North American bird population had lost nearly 3 billion breeding adults since 1970. And that main point being is that a decrease in birds means an increase in deadly toxins in the atmosphere, like insecticides. What might be more alarming, depending on your view of birds, is the fact that there are more than 50 billion birds in the world. That's 6 birds for every human on the planet. Even in the dream world, giant birds appear quite frequently. Birds have long been associated with freedom and independence. In many cultures, they are seen as symbols of liberation and hope. The ability to fly high above the earth and soar through the sky obviously symbolizes the freedom to rise above our earthly concerns and see things from a higher perspective. Think the birds. Although, many people are faced with the opposite feelings when dark, ominous birds appear in their dreams. The size and color can have a direct representation in how you relate with the giant bird in your dreams. A sense of foreboding or harbinger of things to come could be an interpretation of something fearful or dreadful in your waking life. It's probably best not to play Angry Birds before bedtime. In some contemporary works, the rock is reinterpreted to carry metaphors relevant to current issues, such as environmental challenges, reminding us that nature's power can be either protective or destructive, depending on humanity's actions. The rock's continued presence in fantasy and popular culture bridges our ancient past with contemporary explorations of the limits that have been put on society. Perhaps the thousands of sightings and testimony have a similar ring with UFO discoveries, which could be our attempt to make sense of the world around us in an increasingly restrictive and agitating stranglehold on our personal lives through surveillance, political correctness, and self-censorship. Remember, belief in the bizarre and otherworldly has been around for a long, long time. Don't let anyone tell you you're crazy for having a healthy imagination. It's what makes you uniquely human, because most likely there is a hint of truth if not fact, in your assertions. That's more than they'll say to you when you ask them, "What do you think?" Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this episode of Meh, please like, subscribe, and share. We have a Patreon account. For as little as $3 a month, you get extra perks, like seeing the episodes without any commercials, and even on YouTube, you can apply for $3 a month. It's really easy. I'm a teacher, and I'm getting ready to go on summer break, so all the support is needed to continue the channel and make more Mystery Equals History. From Minerva and myself, take care of yourself and each other.
Come on, you damn bird! Come and get me!